We're all clear, but there'll be more. Echo 7, how's the transmission?
I just bypassed security. Transferring to R10 now.
Echo 2, we've got company. Let's make this quick.
Copy, Echo 9. R10, get ready for transmission. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Hoth Transmissions. Today we are going to be jumping into Skeleton Crew episode 3. So, I actually think this is probably the strongest episode that we've had so far. Granted, I did love the first two, but we're really getting into the story and learning more about our mysterious children. And Mr. Jadna Nadao, or whatever. I can't remember his full name. Nope, just kidding.
Nodwood or something
Nawood.
like that.
Jadna Nawood. Yep. I totally butchered his first the first time.
I'm just gonna say before we get into it, that is one of the things I hated about this episode.
His name?
His name, or more technically, his names, which we'll get. You know.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that's fair. So we'll jump into that. So. All right, so Fluffy actually did not fall asleep this time.
No, I didn't. I can say it like this. As soon as we got out of the pirate base and went to the moon, I guess, with Kim, I was then like, oh, cool, this is going somewhere. I like that. And I liked the chasing, I liked the teamwork. I definitely loved the character Kim. She was so cute and interesting to see a very different type of alien species, in my opinion. I don't remember seeing anyone like her before.
The owl-like one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was more like this. What was that movie with the owls and the guardians and so on and so forth?
The Rise of the Guardians?
No, not that one. There was a race of warrior owls and so on.
Sonic.
No.
there are warrior owls in Sonic.
You are 100% right. Yes, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'll find it later.
Can anybody give me
Legend of the Guardians?
Could be Legend of with the owls, right?
The Owls of Gahul.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure how I thought of that character.
Jeez. I've got a lot of change in my car, which is never any help. Always the way. Because, why else would I keep changing? Doing the carry change now, yeah.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, the Legend of the Guardians. This was so amazing. I really like this movie. Ooh, one of the owls was Helen Mirren. No wonder I loved it.
Not sure who that is. I'd have to see the face.
Oh, Helen Mirren. Wait. Where are you? Here. Her.
Oh yeah, I know her. I like her. What was that owl character's name? Skeleton Crew. And Skeleton Crew.
Kim. KH apostrophe YMM.
Okay, because I'm not seeing her on IMDb. But I was curious of who voiced her, but I'm not seeing. I have to do a Google search.
I'm gonna go episode by episode. Then I can see it probably.
Sorry, guys. Santa.
No,
Fun.
you're good, bro.
Aliyah Shawkat. I have never heard of her.
Does have a picture of her? Oh yeah. Oh no, I know who she is. That's her. Oh my goodness. I'm assuming you've never seen the TV show Arrested Development.
Yeah.
I
She's
did.
she's a sister.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
The one had a super weird relationship with the
yeah,
the Michael Sarah.
yeah.
Ew. Okay. Wow.
That's her.
Okay. Wow. I had no idea what her name was, apparently.
I would have never guessed her voice too.
The character Kim looked like one of the owl warriors from Legend of the Guardians, and I really liked it. I also liked that like had an observatory and some kind of like owls are always the wise animals and so on. So I really liked that character. And yeah, I thought she brought something new, and I like the um you know the Sherlock Holmes method of coming from the what is it called? What's the correct word for it? Like you go from the whole to the specific thing. That's how they found where the Atian was. So
Oh, how they were doing all the
yeah,
rules
yeah,
of
yeah,
deduction.
exactly.
Uh,
Yeah. Thank you. The
KB's like, well, it
deduction.
actually eliminated a lot of possibilities. There's
Yeah,
10,000 planets, and we've
yeah,
eliminated 99% of them, or something like that.
yeah. Yeah, that part of the show, this episode, was the most interesting and fun for me.
Fair enough. I don't know. For me, I just enjoy the whole aspect of it. It's just a fun adventure, and it's starting to give me a little bit of, I want to say, Treasure Island vibes. At least with the relationship with Wim and Jude Law's character, because you have this guy who Wim is in admiration about, going, oh, this guy is so cool, and his name's Captain Silva, which is just like Long John Silver from it. And so you got this adult that's helping these children who's like, yeah, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna tell you guys what you want to hear. And then at the end of it, he's like, oh no, I'm actually this really big sinister pirate. And I'm kind of getting the same vibes from Jude Law's character right now and his relationship with Wim. It's kind of the same kind of development that we see in Treasure Island.
I like that comparison, and that is one of the good things I liked about this episode. That and how Wim keeps referring to Jude Law's character as a Jedi, and then he just turns around and said, "Well, I never actually said I was a Jedi." Which
Yeah.
we kind of called that thing would happen anyway, but it makes it made me sort of smile a bit, and I don't know whether it is because we had already said that would happen, or whether it was just a good moment in the first place.
I'll say a little bit of both. It's kind of refreshing having a Force user that's kind of like, I'm not a Jedi, but I'm not Sith either. Which is also interesting with Wim, who has all those storybooks with the Jedi, and we actually see some of the slides in the first episode where the Jedi are fighting someone else with a lightsaber. And so the fact that Wim thinks any Force user is a good guy is kind of confusing for me, because I mean, he sees Jedi fighting, so you think you'd be a little wary about it. It's like, okay, we just found this guy in a pirate hole who can use the Force. A normal Jedi probably would not be there. So why is this guy locked up? Can't be a good guy. Can't be a nice guy. And that's why
I
Fern
mean,
is
they
very
addressed
suspicious of him.
my concern about him why not using the Force to steal the key and leave and so on and so forth? Like, well, what good is the key when I don't have a ship? But I think, of
Mhm.
course, because I cannot watch this from a child's perspective, I am watching it as my 32-year-old adult self, and I'm like, don't you see he is just playing you? Don't, like, he says exactly what you want to hear. He says exactly like it's just that is for me, like, at one point, that's the part that is, I think, very difficult for me to watch. Like, I just want to shake these kids and be like, be smart, be smart. Like, no, he's just playing you. He's just saying what you want to hear. So that is a bit annoying. And also the kids being like very much kids. Like KB and Neil, I'm 100% okay with, but Fern and Wim, I cannot. I cannot. They annoy me a lot.
And I think they're supposed to, which is the funny part. But to go along with the whole thing of them really not like questioning Jude Law's character is they're on this planet that's completely secluded from the rest of the galaxy. They don't even know about the war. And since they're so secluded on a planet, they're surrounded by people they trust. And it doesn't seem like there's a high crime rate in that society. So it seems like everybody's just like, oh yeah, we're all really really nice people. So you got these kids who are so sheltered going into this big vast galaxy and meeting these other people. It's like, okay, well, this guy must be good because everybody I know is good. So we don't really understand crime or anything like that. And I also found it funny because they're also shooting at the good guys at the end of the episode because they don't realize the X-wing pilots are part of the Republic, which are technically the police of the galaxy. So they just think they're shooting at a bunch of goons from Kim's posse or whatever, which I find hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until you just pointed it out. I was like, why don't they, like, they don't, why didn't, what? Like,
Because
X-Wing,
they don't
why are they
know.
shooting at them? Yeah, because they
They
have
don't know
no
what an
idea
X-wing
what a
is.
exactly. You're so right. I didn't even realize that. I was just annoyed at them.
But I'm the captain. Why don't I get to fly the ship? It's good you get to shoot the guns. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Sam. Okay,
Yeah.
so one of the things that you said that you didn't really care too much about was Mr. Captain Silvo, Jodna Nawood, Crimson Jack, all these different names that this character has.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, very
So
curious on your thoughts behind that.
obviously, he's a pirate. He's going to have different names for different things. But from a Disney owns everything point of view, Crimson Jack. We've already got a pirate called Jack. This just goes back to the last episode that we did where it was very sort of Pirates of the Caribbean-esque, and it's the same thing. They've literally named the character Jack. Pick any other name, would have been fine. I would not have had an issue with it, but it's just that one bit that I can't get past.
So, are you not familiar that Crimson Jack was actually in Legends material, one of the first few comics done by Marvel in the beginning? He was actually one of Han Solo's rivals.
I was not aware, and I still don't
Mhm.
like the fact that they used the name. So
Yeah,
either way, I mean,
that's fair.
yeah, it's purely because, like I say, this is a live action thing about space pirates. There's already a pirate in the Disney vault, as it would be, called Jack. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, you could have paid homage to the Marvel Comics character, but changed the name slightly.
The Crimson Joe.
Yeah.
Wow,
Literally
Joe is the worst name of a pirate.
anything else would have been fine, just not Jack. Because every time I hear them say Jack, I want to go, Jack, where be my ship? And I'm like, no, this isn't Pirates of the Caribbean.
This is Star Wars. Yeah, I can see where you're going with it. That actually didn't really bother me too much, just because I knew about the character from the originals before Disney bought Star Wars. I knew about Crimson Jack, so I already knew he was a character. And I do know that they did bring him back in the comics during the time of the First Order, and he's supposed to be like this guy with this really bright red mustache and bright red hair, and that's why he's called Crimson Jack. And we got this character 30 years before that character going, no, yeah, I'm Crimson Jack, but it's okay. All right. So
kind of the exact opposite of what Jude Law is.
yes, exactly. So so they could go a darker route with it, because right now we see him as this pirate. He's never said he was a Jedi, but we can kind of assume that he's lying. Like, he probably just used different aliases that aren't his. Kind of like the whole Ezra going, oh yeah, I'm Jabba. And since he doesn't have any bright red hair or bright red mustache, I'm wondering if Crimson's going to be a little bit more darker than what it was originally, as far as a ginger. So Crimson means he's killed so many people, he's created a Crimson River. So we call him Crimson Jack.
I don't think we're ever going to find out. I think it was just
alias.
Yeah, an alias, an Easter egg to the comic books.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. I genuinely don't think we're going to find out any more about why that was one of his names. I mean, you know, we're sort of 3 names into this character now, and that's, you can be a pirate and have the same name. I mean, I don't remember Hondo. You know, he didn't go by another name for one thing. He was just Hondo, and you got to do it with the head tilt as well, because he's like awesome at being a pirate.
Do you think there might be a reason behind this? Do you think this is a storytelling tool of some kind?
Yeah.
Or is it just okay?
Yeah, because now that they've left the moon, which, by the way, I love that it was an actual moon and not just some like, oh, we're on a moon, but it's lush with trees and all, like we've seen every other moon in Star Wars, except for Revenge of the Sith. There was another moon that they took Padme to at the end, but I liked that they kind of kept it as just a moon this time. Weird that they could breathe on it, but
that got me as well, that they could park the ship and just walk freely with no gravity issues or anything. Like,
I can usually toss that aside as it being a sci-fi world where these guys travel in space, so it's just that type of I want to say universe is where normal physics and normal logic doesn't really apply here.
Yeah, I can. If you take out the real world aspects and just go into this is make believe and anything is possible. I mean, you've got guys with glow sticks that hit each other with them.
True.
Somewhere there's a whole army of Star Wars fans just dying at the fact I said glow sticks.
I was just like, wow, this
I was actually slightly offended.
Best description of a lightsaber I've ever heard.
Just when I get mad at Anakin in The Phantom Menace, calling them laser swords. They're not laser swords, they're lightsabers, kid.
Laser sword is so good.
In that sort of aspect of everything, I can take out the real world aspect of the. Yeah, they're on a moon, but there's nothing to say that gravity and air won't be a thing. They said it's cold, but I don't know. Part of me just wished it was, and this is again middle ground me. Part of me wished that they'd had some kind of breathing apparatus on just to get to the to Kim's place.
Kind of like what Han and Leia did back with the Minox on the asteroid.
Yeah.
Which makes a little bit more sense there because it is an asteroid, so it's kind of not its own planet, I guess, or own sphere. So
Yeah, but I do think that
it's just we didn't really see an atmosphere on that moon.
Yeah.
To kind of give us like any indications, like okay, they can breathe, but obviously Joe Na had been there before, so them just walking out would be him leading them. It's like, oh yeah, I'm fine breathing, so you guys are as well.
I have a question about the fact that we have been calling this moon the moon in the episode. Would you not have preferred to have title cards with the names?
No.
Sometimes I like not having a name to a destination, because we could just call it Kim's Moon.
Yeah.
Or the Owl Moon.
Why? We could have had the Owl Moon would have been so amazing.
Owl Moon.
I don't know. I would have loved to have the name and like not. I mean, we know so many things. Why are we referring to this as the moon? At least they could have given it a name.
I mean, you're
I
not
don't
wrong because Disney has been very consistent with naming everything. And this is like the first time that we don't get an indication of a name. We just know who's there. We know it's a moon, and that's about it.
I liked the not knowing what the moon was called, because for me it's like not everything has to be named. It could literally just be a essentially dead moon orbiting a planet that someone's decided to set up shop on.
Well, I did do a quick little Google search on it, and they just call it the observatory moon.
Yeah,
But
see,
as far as like a literal name for the planet, there's none.
I am happy without the name cards, because again, that was kind of ruined for me by the previous productions. I'm sorry, Acolyte, but we know it's Coruscant, all right? We do not need the title card to say it every time. It's the same location that they go to. So, in this episode,
I don't know. What is Coruscant? What is Coruscant again? It's the center of the galaxy, something like that. Everybody should already know that.
You people deserve not to know whatever planet you're on or the moon.
I'm just saying before title cards, I used to know every single planet in the Star Wars galaxy, and I didn't need title cards for that.
Yeah, I think
I was a true fan. I did my research.
Some title cards are good depending on the production. So I will let Fluffy not explode by me actually saying title cards are a good thing occasionally.
Because it worked in Rogue One.
Yeah, like that I have no issues with at all.
Or if it's like a new planet, they can do title card, but when we return to the planet, they don't need to keep.
Yeah, and that is the problem that I've got with title cards in the Acolyte, and why I'm happy that there's none in this so far, because
I just don't think it would fit in this story.
Yeah,
with how it's filmed.
The title cards in Acolyte were huge and pointless because it was always the same shots of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. We know, we've all seen Order 66. We know what happens. Like, we know what it looks like.
Let alone Clone Wars and the prequels.
Yeah, like
sometimes we get a night shot.
Occasionally. But sometimes there is no need to have them because it sort of helps build the mystery up.
Yeah,
with-
but
with this
Fluffy
moon.
really wants to know the name of this moon.
I am done with you people.
Wow.
Just because Acolyte made the mistake of putting the title card on Coruscant exactly on the shot of the Jedi Temple.
And in
Wow.
size 100 fonts.
Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. Let's move on. There is
The whole
no
show was a
Acolyte
mistake.
anymore.
The whole show was a
No.
mistake.
No,
I know we
God.
seem to bash Acolyte in every recording now. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I can't believe
It
it.
was that bad, and that's one of the things I want
It
to
was
kind of bring up is that
bad.
the Acolyte gets so much hate for good reasons, and people are complaining for specific reasons of why when it had nothing to do with any of what the actors thought people were complaining about. It was literally just story writing, pacing, and everything. And then you got this show who's got such a diverse cast, and it's getting tons and tons of praise over the internet, which it broke the Solo curse because Last Jedi sucked and Solo didn't get
Why?
to shine the way that he could. We'll get into that when we watch the movie. And but Skeleton Crew is not having that same curse where okay, Acolyte sucked, but not many people are going to care for Skeleton Crew. But Skeleton Crew is actually thriving.
This is what I don't understand. What is there for this show to be thriving? What
It's
please.
just fun. It's fun. It's adventurous. It's great acting,
I
great
fell
pacing.
asleep on episode 2.
It's a fun adventure.
It's not a fun adventure. It was fun for 10 minutes.
Again, one of the reasons why I'm not, why I'm in the middle ground of this is still very much a kind of Firefly-esque show, and I mean, I like Firefly quite a lot, an insane amount to be fair, and this just feels like Firefly meets Pirates of the Caribbean.
But that's
So-
the thing. You don't like the show because of what the show is. You like the
I
show
never
because
said I didn't
of
like
the
the show.
feelings. You have feelings and nostalgia
But
that is
here's-
linked to other media behind it. It makes you think of other stuff. That's why you like the show. Look at the show as it is. It is a bunch of annoying kids that are running around.
adorably annoying kids.
Yes,
Neil
that was a
aside.
positive.
Fern's kind of a little rebellious, but she's probably the smartest one out of the group. It's like we should leave Jod Nod before he gets back to the ship. We should take off without him. I don't trust him. And literally, the owl basically tells her, it's like he probably told you to trust your gut. Well, trust your head. Like this guy ain't good. But I'm really not getting Pirates of the Caribbean feel from this though. I get more like the Treasure Island, Goonies. Not even so much Stranger Things as a lot of people are comparing it to. I think it's just because it's a group of kids in kind of like an 80s style
Yeah, episode
film
1
is.
of this was very much like Stranger Things esque
Mhm.
with the setup on the planet and everything. But as we're going further into the journey, it is going further away from Stranger Things, which is good. But I am enjoying the show. Like, don't get me wrong. All the minor nitpickings that I've had is an annoyance to me, but at the same time, I can sit there happily and just enjoy watching it.
Mhm.
And that's what it should be. It should just be enjoyable.
And I know they did one thing that Fluffy was hoping they wouldn't do that we discussed in the last podcast was pan over to the parents.
Yes, I
Which
didn't want
I didn't
to do
mind.
that either, but it actually added something to the story for me. Whereas when we was discussing it last time, it was like, I hope they don't do it, because if they jump back and forth, it'll detract from sort of the main plot. But because it was so short a time that they did it, there was
And
no...
it was done at the very beginning rather than in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, placing was perfect.
And again, sort of not to knock the Acolyte more than we already have done, but that's where the Acolyte went wrong.
Placing.
Yeah. You had the flashback episode near the end of the season, which doesn't work. Whereas I'd say this is playing it safe, but in the best way possible, where they're having sort of the B plot of the planet towards the beginning of the episode.
Because this is the one that's kind of like really giving us like that mystery, like the mystery that we've all been like curious about. It's like, okay, so it's slowly unfolding. It's like the big mystery is about this planet, and why was it so secluded and hidden, and how was it the only one that wasn't destroyed from all the other similar planets that they found in all the records? Like, I think that's the thing that intrigues me the most, is just, what is this planet? What purpose does it serve?
That is honestly one of the things that I am enjoying about this the most. Yeah, you've got the story with the kids and the Force user and a really cool looking spaceship, which, I want a model kit of. But you've got the mystery of the planet, and they're teasing every now and again. This episode obviously had more of it with a map, a paper map of it, but it's teases here and there, and you go back to the planet at the beginning of the episode, and they don't know any different to what they've been told, and then as we're going through the episode, we find out just little bits more, and I'm like, that is the hook for me.
Because even the kids are like, there's no treasure on this planet, so but what do our parents do? Oh, parents and analyst. Okay, well, what did they analyze? Ooh, now the kids are starting to think and go, okay, what's so normal for us is a treasure hoard for the rest of the galaxy. So it has something to do with the works.
I just hope that the last episode of this season, so I'm guessing at the moment it is just a one season thing.
Yeah, I think it's like its own standalone thing. I don't really think it's going to really connect to really anything else other than its timestamp.
I hope that we get a good payoff as to what the planet actually is. What it's used for, and I hope that it's not just a simple cop out, basically, of, oh, this planet is actually hidden because of a very stupid reason. I want something substantial to it. If we're being teased with little bits of knowledge in each episode, I want a good payoff.
And Fluffy's being very quiet. What are you thinking? What are you thinking over there?
Not much. I mean, yeah, I have the hopes as you do. I don't see the show as for more than one season. I would rather not have the show also not for more than one season. I would like the story to be wrapped up, because not everything should last for seasons and seasons. Like, even Mandalorian is going to stretch way beyond what it was meant to. Yeah, other than that, honestly, like, I really feel like, yeah, this is probably just not my show. It just does not speak to me.
Which is fair.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've been thinking. Like, I would have enjoyed.
I mean, you're wrong, but respectable. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
If you want to keep the show PG-13, you should not be disagreeing with me further.
But okay, so this would be my next question then, because obviously the first two episodes you fell asleep. What kept you awake in this episode?
The
Well,
pacing was better. Like, there was more action. There was a bit more pacing. Like, there was trying to get out of the pirates, pirate post
the Pirates
outpost.
Cove.
Yeah, exactly. So there was this funny thing with the cable and the other ships and so on and so forth. So that part kept me awake. And then they just were in at the moon, and at the moon the dialogue was good for me, that I was like, oh yeah, because I like, as I said, like, I like the deduction kind of stuff. Like, I love Sherlock
But
Holmes, so that part of the dialogue kept me awake. And then, of course,
okay,
there was the chase scene and the X-wing, and then the episode was over. So there was always something going on, not just children going to a school that we will probably never go back to, and a system that we don't have to understand or will never get into depth. Like, I really, honestly, in the first episode, I didn't need 2-3 days of school. I didn't. That was, sorry, but again, like,
she hated
it's
school,
probably,
so that was some PTSD for her right there.
I work at one.
There you
So
go. There's the
definitely.
PTSD. She doesn't want to. She works, so she doesn't want to watch a show about going to school. She's like, I already work at one. I don't need to see more of it on my off time. Okay. All right, that makes sense.
No, no, I just felt like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't like Stranger Things that much either. Maybe child actors and so on and so forth, or the stories that are revolving around them, unless they are not animated, do not attract me. That might be
That
the issue. Because animated Disney films, shows that are about children and their adventures, specifically Phineas and Ferb, I love those things. But I don't
well, I
know.
mean,
I
this
don't.
is better than the Young Jedi Tales or whatever they did that were geared towards toddlers or whatever. So, like when I first heard about the show, and I heard it was about a group of kids. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so dumb. But like I said in the last podcast, like the acting and the way they deliver the lines, the way they interact with each other, the chemistry on set kind of really pulls me into those characters. Whereas, yes, a couple of them can be annoying, but that's because that's how they're written. They're supposed to be those annoying kids that always get in trouble and make the stupid decisions that get them into worse trouble. And now you got Jude Law's character who's like sitting there, it's like, okay, well, these kids can get me where I need to go. I don't really want them, but I need them. And now he's starting to feel like a babysitter because once he goes back to get SB-33, he's like, "Don't touch that! Don't touch that!" He's like, "You don't want to be taken off before I get back." Like he's having to tell them what to do, and he's kind of taken on that leader role to where Fern's like going, "I thought I was the captain. I thought I was the captain," but he's the one has the experience, and she's like, "Okay, well, if you want to be the captain, then start telling people to do things, but you don't know what to do, so I'm going to be the one telling you guys what to do." I am actually going to say Jude Law actually he's one of my favorite actors, and he actually really stood out in this episode for me. Like the whole character, despite the million different names, but the character
The act,
himself, I think, is really cool.
I'm
the
so
acting
sorry,
was
but
good.
I feel like we are completely looking at, like, we must be watching different shows. That it is like, oh yeah.
I mean, that's
Now,
fair, but now I'm starting to think about like who his character is and if he's going to have any significance in any other projects. I don't really see Atten or the society there. I'm curious of what purpose that is, other than just to build up for a treasure hunt.
nothing.
But I wonder if Jodna is or Captain Silva is going to be built up for something else. Because I mean, Jude Law's kind of a big name for a one-hit series or one-shot series.
I honestly don't see this building up to anything, or Jude Law coming back for something else.
I mean, that's fair.
I have to agree, and again, sort of let's look at the Acolyte and the the cast that we had in that, in the way that that was a sort of one series cast, mostly because they killed them off by the first episode, but that's fine. So even though they've got a big name like Jude Law, is he still as relevant today as he was, say, 10 years ago? Is he just...
That's fair.
It's one of those things. I'm not knocking Jude Law at all. He is a good actor that can be versatile. Especially in this, he's not just playing his sort of normal self. Yeah, so not knocking Jude Law as an actor, because he can and is versatile. But like I say, let's look at sort of what he's done in the last 10 years. It's not been as many big projects that have been hit as 10 years prior.
Back when he was like in almost everything back then.
Yeah. It's kind of like they overused him when he was younger, and now it's kind of leveled off a bit. But I think if there isn't a second season of this, or if his character never comes up again, I'm honestly okay with that, just because we've got a different character.
Mm-hmm. Which is fair, because like I said in the last recording, like I would prefer this to kind of just be a one-shot thing. Like it, that's kind of what it feels. It's just like some little fun adventure, and once it's over, it's over. All right, let's get back to all the other Star Wars stuff. Let's get back to Rey's story, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I also don't want that to be completely the case. Like, I know this is gonna sound so stupid and not like
Nope.
it is entertainment. I should not forget the fact that it is entertainment after all. But I feel like watching these characters and bonding with them over a season and caring about all of, like, if it's not going to add anything to the big picture, because unfortunately, no matter what, Star Wars has a big picture. It is what it is. It is not just one off, one movie done thing. No, it has been years and years of build up and character developments and so on and so forth. So I find it really difficult to care about these characters that I don't even know if I'm ever going to see it again or not, or what are they going to contribute to what I'm watching, what I have been experiencing. I think that's also one of the reasons why I cannot care about the show at all.
And I think it's one of those things we have to see more to really get a bigger understanding of why the show is created and what purpose it's going to hold after.
See,
because
that's the thing. I don't think there is going to be a purpose. It's just a cash
but this
grab.
is sorry, real quick, Sam. Because one of the things that Disney likes to do is beat a dead horse, right? And Acolyte got such terrible reviews. They're like, okay, well, we're not going to continue with another season. But despite Fluffy's love for the show, the Skeleton Crew is getting a lot of hype over the internet, a lot of praise. A lot of people are loving it. People that I know that have been out of Star Wars for a while are actually saying this is finally refreshing. Like, it's getting a really good following that I feel like Disney's going to want to continue it. It's like, okay, it was such a huge success for the first episode, so let's continue.
Yeah, I So the point I was gonna make was, if this is just a one season thing, I'm okay with that. I think that we've been, as a whole, sort of spoiled by the fact that everything is connected in one way, shape, or form. We've got Marvel where everything is connected more and more now. There's no real standalone things. And we've now got that bleeding into Star Wars, where you've got the Mandoverse with, the Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka. If this was just a single thing that is one season and done, but it leaves on a high note, I'm happy with that. Like, there's not an issue there for me. I think, again, sort of to go back and mention the Acolyte, the problem that they had, one was the title, because it should never have been called the Acolyte. Like, the Acolyte was in it for, or used as like a pawn for what, half an hour of the first episode. I think they kind of put too many eggs into that one basket to make a prequel to the movies story that just didn't work. Whereas this is in the same time span as the Mandoverse, but doesn't need to be connected to anything. So, like I say, if we never see these kids again, or if everything's wrapped up in a neat little bow by the end of the season, I'm happy for it to be a one season thing.
Yeah, because it's kind of, because I mean, you got to think about it. Like Mando and everybody, they're off doing their thing. It's like the rest of the galaxy is still moving, and stories are still being told in the background. So this is just kind of like one of those things. Like, oh yeah, well, Mando and Ahsoka are sitting there off on their adventures. We got this adventure happening over here that we want to tell.
Yeah, and that's the kind of view that I'm having with this, is that it's, like I say, it's set at the same time as the Mandoverse, but they're off telling their story. Let's hear about someone else, and if we never hear from again, that's fine.
Like Omega.
No. I don't know. I honestly am
Disinterested.
no, I don't know. I mean, I'm not that disinterested, because otherwise why would I be watching it anyways? It might also be because of the fact that I really liked Acolyte. I know I had some issues with it as well, but I honestly still do not think that it should have been canceled. And after caring about those characters and bonding with them, I might be also cautious to like and bond with another show. That might also be my issue, because but yeah, I have to be very objective. I don't see the charm or the interest that goes into the show as clearly as other people.
I don't know. For me, I think it's just, I'm just looking at it as a fun little treasure hunt, a little fun adventure. Like, I'm trying not to like put it too much into the Star Wars universe, other than familiar faces and familiar species and it being in space. But I'm just kind of just jumping into it as just a fun little adventure. And I think that's where I'm finding a lot of the enjoyment out of.
Yeah. I know, sort of, in previous episodes, I've complained about, oh, do we really
Acolyte?
need... Well,
Oh,
yeah.
well, no, never mind. Just kidding.
No. I
Episode
genuinely think it's
10,001, Acolyte bashing continues.
No, to be
It'll
fair,
never stop.
it's not just the Acolyte. It's when, we've got something, we've got a new Star Wars production, and then we've got new alien species and new planets and everything. And that kind of annoys me. But with this, for some reason, it didn't bother me that we've got yet another new alien species, i.e. Kim the Owl. But because
I'm gonna say it's also because they've brought in a lot of familiar species as well. It's not just a whole new cast of species. It's a mix of everything.
So that I like, because I think you've just hit the nail on the head there, that it's a good blend of the two. And again, with sort of Kim's moon, I like it's not got a name, because then it can literally just be a moon of a planet.
Mm-hmm.
And you pick a planet. Like we've got the mystery planet on one side. To have a non-named moon just works for me, and it doesn't interfere with the map, like the galaxy map, because we only see Star Wars really from 77. It was the Skywalker saga.
Mm-hmm.
So we've only followed those characters. There are probably many hundreds of other species that we've not encountered yet. So to do that in a setting that is neutral just works really well for me.
Because it's introducing like one, not like a whole planet of random creatures.
Yeah.
And another thing that I'm actually really enjoying about the show is that it does bring in the whole Easter egg aspect. Like we got Captain Jack or Crimson Jack. And even at the Pirate Cove, not sure if any of you guys noticed, but in the background there's one of the ships that was the original design for the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
And so they toss little Easter eggs here and there.
I liked that aspect of. I mean, I kind of paused it on my second watching to see if there were any other ships that I sort of vaguely recognized, and apart from the original design for the Falcon, they were all just kind of space piratey looking, which again I like, because it's not just here's the ghost in the background of the thing again, like
the ghost is at the Pirate Cove.
There's a cannibalized blockade runner. We don't need those. Just they're pirates. They're not going to have decent looking ships.
Not to mention their horde of droids that they just have shut down, locked in like some corner, which I thought was funny, because we got the battle droid, which did a little Bad Batch nod to when it was reactivated, going, "Did we win?" Which did the same thing with for Omega when she activated the droid in Bad Batch. And then you have this new droid, which has a really funky voice.
Yeah.
And then this other droid, which I thought was kind of cool, because I want to know the story behind that droid now, because he's like, "Oh, the prince is in trouble. The prince is in trouble," and then he starts wandering off. And it's like, okay, that's another pirate story right there.
Yeah. If there was a Tales of series, and
Tales of the Pirates.
Yeah, if it was Tales of Space Pirates, and that was one of the stories, I would not be
Opposed.
Yes, thank you. Opposed on watching it. I would be quite intrigued.
That's what I'm really thinking, because it's kind of turning into like the What If series for Marvel, and I actually like the Tales of series.
Yeah.
Because those are kind of like one-shot things that they can build something up, and we don't really have to know too much more about it after. Even though they kind of brought in Morgan Elsbeth, but I mean, that was just kind of to deep dive into her character for the live action stuff. But
I mean, the Tales of answer questions for characters' backstories. So, we had the Dooku one.
Like Yaddle.
Yeah, like she was in episode 1 and had disappeared without a trace by episode 2. So to know what happened filled in that gap, and that's what I like about the Tales of it. it kind of is a bit like the What If Marvel series, but also completely different at the same time.
Because it's not a what if; it's literally just a tale.
Yeah, it's a sort of continuation of.
That's why
I
we
mean,
got the Lego series to do the what ifs for us.
Yeah. I mean, if there was ever a Star Wars What If, I would like that too.
They did comic versions of that back in the originals. I think it's called Star Wars Infinities.
Yeah. But having a modern day version of it. I mean, it's not like the Marvel one where you've got the comic books that you can kind of run off. This would be, there's loads of things on YouTube and stuff where people have made these anyway. It would be interesting, but like with this, and especially with the droid, that walks into a wall, there is a story there that needs to be told, and I would love to know, like yourself, what that story is.
Because there's another story that I think we're going to be seeing more of, though, because as the planet is being kind of unraveled, and with the parents, like even the parents don't even realize that there's on some secret planet. Like, I'm really curious. I really want to know what they're thinking, because if they're doing the work for the Republic, but they're not communicating to anybody outside the planet, then how much do they know? And why they have not questioned? Because they mentioned when they're kids, whenever they got lost, the security droids would be the ones to go out and find them. And then now the security droids are saying, nope, they left the barrier, but we're not going to try and contact them.
See, for me, that would be the best version of the show. If we had this mystery around a planet that was like, that didn't know about the war, that didn't know about the Empire, that would still function as part of the
Its
old
own thing.
Republic, but not like they would, because I guess they think that they are a part of the old Republic. They have no idea about what has happened in the meantime. That's at least what I've understood.
All right, I'm going to make a little stretch here on this one. It kind of reminds me of the Wheel of Time. Hear me out? I don't know if you guys read the books, but there's this kingdom that called Andor, which is funny. But it's like this huge region, but at the very outskirts is a little farming village called the Two Rivers, who have been operating by themselves. They have their own little society and groups that governs them, but the actual royalty, the king and queen, don't actually send any messengers out that way because it's just too far to travel, but they're still part of it. And so it's kind of giving me that same vibe. It's like this own little planet that is part of something bigger, but doesn't really contact the government per se. And they kind of just function as their own thing and very prosperous. And so now we're getting these parents that are questioning, okay, well, our kids just left. The droids aren't going to do anything. So I feel like we got the parents that are going to be trying a little something to get off the planet now.
Yeah. I think you're right, about the whole mystery and it's almost like conditioning for everybody that there is a barrier and you don't ask questions. Because even looking back on the first couple of episodes now, you've got the slot car system, so you can't even go off roads properly. Like, why? What's the big deal with that? You don't see a load of spaceships flying around, overhead or anything. It's just you're on the slot car track. That's where you're going. That's where you're stopping.
Just everything is so organized that you just don't question. It's like this is how it is. It's how it's always been. So we're just
Yeah,
gonna
that's
keep doing it.
1984-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I wonder if this is a utopia or a dystopia at the end. Because people seem to be quite happy.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Until their
that's
children go
okay.
missing.
Yeah, exactly. Until the children go missing. I think that's also what we see with Wim's dad, Wendell, I guess. Because while the rest of the parents are being quite hectic and so on, Wendell is like, he's the one who
Pensive.
is sitting pensive, exactly. So, see that, like, I hope we get more of that because that type of mystery and everything, like, for me, that is the more interesting, what should have been the A storyline. But of course, we're
Hmm.
gonna go through an adventure in space because that's what we do, that's what Star Wars is. So, yeah, I'm okay with that. But that is the part that I'm most excited about. And hopefully, we get all of the answers that we need to get from that. Because if they build it up and up and up like this over episodes and then just give us, yeah, because there was this one guy and there was blah, just like very dry, not well thought out explanation, then I would not be happy with it.
Because now I'm thinking that it might just be one of those things where you got this planet that's secluded, and then by the end of it, the whole point of it is just like, okay, well, they're part of the galaxy now. That was the story that we wanted to tell, and these
No.
they're
Sorry.
Are we keeping you awake, Fluffy?
I thought Skeleton Crew is boring for her, but I guess we're putting her to sleep.
Oh, I know.
Yep. No. No. Sorry, guys. No, 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 no. I cannot handle at him just being like, yeah, here's another type of planet, and yeah, here now it is a part of a galaxy. Like what? No,
No,
I haven't had this mystery build up for 3 episodes just for that.
I do hope it's kept a secret from the sort of wider galaxy, but with more. It's hard to explain because obviously the parents of the kids are now sort of suspecting things and everything, so that's going to be a whole other story. But I just hope that they don't go, like you said, Fluffy, that here's this planet, yay, it's now part of the galaxy again. No, keep it hidden, keep it secret, keep it safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad for the people who live in the planet, but they seem to be quite happy and they should be allowed to leave the planet if they really want to. But if they leave, they should not be able to come back, and nobody from the outside should be able to go in,
Yeah.
is
Okay.
what I feel.
Yeah, because I'm thinking this whole thing. It's like, okay, well, what if they're just happy they don't want to leave? Like, but definitely have the option to do it. Because I mean, you don't know what you don't know, right? So they don't know about space travel, I guess, or well, I mean, I guess they do know about space travel, but they don't seem like they really experience it at all. Because when you think back to the first episode, you don't really see any ships flying.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, that's another thing. Like, because everything about this planet is super exciting to me. And
Mhm.
how do they? I mean, everybody seems to be quite well off so far,
Yeah.
and everyone seems to be getting like good meals and like how is this planet completely self-sufficient, or do they not have hyperspace fuel and so on and so forth? And that is also another thing why nobody leaves the barrier. because I assume if the technology and the capabilities for that existed, then it would have been done. These kids unearthing a very old spaceship would not have been the first case of leaving the barrier.
Hmm.
So I feel like that might also be that, like, even there is hyperspace fuel that it is being kept from people, and those type of spaceships are being kept from people on purpose.
Yes, much mystery shrouds this planet.
Wow. Yeah, as you can see, I can talk about the planet on and on and on and on, not just the other
she
stuff.
just hates the children, so I think Fluffy's going to be our planet analyst.
Oh my god.
I
Finally,
just feel like my spot's being taken. You know.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Like, Sam's hatred just finally infected me. In 3 to 4 episodes, I will start chanting about Order 66. And in another season,
It's going to be fueled by these children.
yep, I will just be like Order 66.
Except for Neil.
Them.
Just spare Neil, though. And
Neil, Neil is so cute.
He's cute, but he didn't have much to do in this episode.
He piloted a spaceship.
Yeah.
But as far as like a role, it was more focused on Fern, Jude Law, and Wim, and then a little bit with KB.
Yeah.
It's like, do you even sleep? It's like, yeah. Let me pull this up. I'm human. I'm not a droid.
Yeah, I think, like I say, Neil is the weakest character of this episode, which is a shame because he had such good chemistry with the other, well, with the human kids
At the start,
yeah. That this time he was, he tried to be the voice of reason occasionally, partially got shot down with it. Yes, he flew the ship, but also for like 5 minutes because then Jude Law took over again. And it was like, that's great, but you could have stuck the two kids that, pretended to lightsaber fight in the guns, and they loved it.
This episode I felt like was a turning point for me. At least I didn't feel like, when is this going to end? I watched it and I even enjoyed it. So I hope it continues like this, and I actually get to say, I'm sorry, I judged this completely wrong, and it was an amazing show.
Fair enough. Let's hope it gives you that change of heart because I'm loving it. The show, not you haven't changed heart, but that is a plus.
Yeah.
So overall, I think it was a really good episode. I really enjoyed the pacing of this one and just kind of getting a little bit more information about what's going on here. And I'm really hoping we're going to get more information soon. I think the next episode, we're going to learn more about this Crimson Jack character. So I'm not sure we're going to get too much revealed about Atten, but the mystery is slowly unraveling. So we will find out on the next episode. So before we go, guys, just remember, check the link down below. We have some awesome merch that you can check in entertainmentearth.com, awesome collectibles licensed by Disney, or check out some of our cool shirts. But also be sure to join our Discord and follow us on Instagram so you can join a wonderful community of Star Wars fans just like you. So until next week, guys, may the Force
be with you.
Always.